My name's Ollie Bridgwater and I'm the executive chef at Source Restaurant at the Gilpin Hotel and Lake House. The dish I'm going to cook for you today is Japanese rice pudding with miso, sesame and sake. So the dish sits on the menu as a pre-dessert. We always like to have a sweet, savoury segue into the courses. So it's super umami, salty, a little bit sweet and very indulgent. There's a contrast between the hot rice pudding and the cold ice cream. So for the base of the rice pudding, we use a really high grade rice from Hokkaido in Japan. It's got a very naturally nutty flavour to it, which works really, really well with the sesame that comes later on in the dish. So we take the rice and we just cook it in milk, cream, a little bit of vanilla and a tiny bit of sugar. And what's interesting about this process is we take the rice just to the point of being just cooked, similar to like you would cook a risotto. We then strain off the rice and remove 2/3 of it and cool that down. We add the remaining third back into the liquid and cook it for a further 30-40 minutes until it's cooked through. Then we'll blend that into a really smooth puree, a rice cream, and then mix the two back together. So we have this amazing, silky, smooth rice pudding with perfectly evenly cooked rice distributed through it, which is something that's quite uncommon from a conventional method of cooking a rice pudding. The miso caramel starts with just making a conventional dry caramel, which we just take to a nice golden brown, take the sugar dry in a pan to a golden brown colour. We'll then add the cream to that and just take off the heat and emulsify, and a little bit of butter, followed by a light miso, which is really important. It's a really light miso that works perfectly with the ice cream that the dish is finished with. It's got that lovely sort of banana-y characteristic that we get from the sake in the ice cream. So the sake ice cream is a conventional ice cream, just an anglaise base. So we heat the milk and the cream, add that to the eggs and sugar. We pasteurize that at 70 degrees for 10 minutes and then pass that base through a sieve and cool it down. Once we've cooled that down and we're ready to churn the ice cream, we take 1 litre and add a small amount of yogurt and 10% of the weight in a really high grade sake. And then it's ready to churn. So to assemble the dish, we start with the miso caramel that just goes at the bottom of the bowl. We very gently warm up the rice pudding. That's the perfectly cooked rice and the puree mixed together. That sits in the top. And then we'll cover that with the furikake, with the barley syrup. Then we top that with the sesame tuile to create the barrier between the hot and cold. And then that's finished with a rochet of the sake ice cream and a tiny bit of really high grade sesame oil, which really helps bring the dish together. It brings that nuttiness. So everything marries and you come through that cold ice cream, crunched through, right down to the miso caramel at the bottom. So there we have Japanese rice pudding with miso caramel and sake.